The story of why I'm here in Leysin, Switzerland really begins on the day the world changed forever. On September 11, 2001, we were due to leave the UK for a working holiday teaching in New Zealand. A one-year working holiday turned into 12 years, a house, 2 kids and a tentative career change towards graphic design. New Zealand is amazing. The scenery is breathtaking, outdoor activity and sports are part of the culture, and the pioneer feeling that with a bit of hard work anyone can be anything is still strong. However, the history and culture of New Zealand is still young, and there is a feeling of isolation from centuries of history and culture that exists in Europe. This, along with a feeling of being so far away from the rest of the world, led me, my husband and 2 small boys on the path of international teaching. We ended up on a small island in the East China Sea, off the coast of South Korea. Jeju Island and Korea are historically and artistically very rich in contrast to New Zealand. We enjoyed travel around Southeast Asia, but after 3 years we were missing the culture of outdoor sport and adventure that we had in New Zealand. This left us searching for a place which combined our love of the outdoors with a rich historical and cultural environment. We started looking for jobs in the Alps, and in particular Switzerland, that has an enormous amount of international schools. 12 weeks ago this search brought us to Leysin, a small village perched on the edge of the Swiss Alps at 1263 metres. Leysin has been here since medieval times, but rose to glory during the TB epidemic at the turn of the last century. The Victorians believed that fresh mountain air and sunshine could cure this disease, and Leysin has both in abundance. In 1875 a road was opened up from the fertile terrace beside the Rhone River below, and this was followed by a cog train from Aigle in 1900, allowing materials to be brought in easily, and a huge development followed. TB sanitariums sprung up everywhere, the grandest of these rivaling any of the top hotels in the Riviera. Leysin American School, where I live and work, is housed in a building which was once such an institution. The grandest of these, the Grand Hotel, housing the school's teaching places and art rooms. The architecture of this building is beautiful. It is Victorian in style, but more understated than the high Victorian style that exists in the UK. The colours are natural and work in harmony with the landscape of this beautiful place. After advances in the treatment of TB with antibiotics in the 1940s and 50s, Leysin reinvented itself as a tourist resort, attracting hikers in the summer and skiers in the winter months. This historic postcard advertises Leysin to Victorian tourists. The beauty and tranquility of the landscape here is awe-inspiring. As a creative individual, the feeling of being up above everything in the clean, clear alpine air refreshes the soul. It creates a feeling of new beginnings and renewed excitement for me about the world of art and design, which coincides with the start of this course. The view out of our apartment window is the same yet different every day. I have so many pictures of this view in different lights, at different times of day, and with different weather conditions. It never fails to make me smile in the morning when I open the curtains. Our apartment is small, but the view is so big it never fails to provide inspiration. The colours in this place are ever-changing too. Summer brings blue skies and gentle haze around the valleys, which softens the colour to a subtle range of blues and greens. The sound of cowbells is heard everywhere in the meadows. In autumn, green turns to glorious orange, red and yellows, in stark contrast with the bright blue skies and settled weather of this time of year. 1,000 metres below is the highly populated area around Lac Le Mans and Geneva itself. Going down into the valley feels like a journey to another world, and this creates both physical and psychological isolation from the main hubs of creative industries. Once you had ventured off the mountain, there is a wealth of artistic inspiration within the numerous museums, galleries and creative networks that exist around the lake. Today, as I set out on my walk, I hope to discover more about the creative networks in Leysin itself. As I have only lived here for 12 weeks, I know very little, and I also have a language difficulty in that my French is far from fluent. And aside from surviving day-to-day conversation in shops, any meaningful contact with the creative community is going to be a huge challenge. Of course, I already know a little about the Swiss style and design that eventually went on to become what is known as the international style, and I'm going to use this as a lens to view what's around me today. How did such a minimal modernist style evolve from within this traditional village living style and amazing environment? One of the first things I notice, aside from the majesty of the landscape itself, is the architecture. The vernacular architecture of wooden Swiss chalets very much follow the modernist ideal A form follows function. Today, covered in snow, the inhabitants are warm and insulated and protected from the harsh winter environment. Built entirely from wood, aesthetically they harmonise with the landscape, and the large sloping eaves create a balance to the simple design. Decoration is in the form of latticework or coloured shutters. There are beautiful examples still surviving in the village from the early 18th century. There are also modern interpretations of chalets, which still fulfil the traditional aesthetic ideals, with a modern twist of wide expanses of glass and indoor-outdoor flow to make the most of the scenery in the mountain climate. European cafe culture is a daily way of life here, with people outside enjoying coffee in the mountain air and inspiring exhibitions of artwork to be found on the walls. On my walk I found little workshops and studios tucked into the back streets, and I even discovered a tiny art school in a little lane behind my house. Evidence of people being inspired by the landscape is obvious everywhere. Despite being small, Leysin is very unique. The population of 4,000 is made up of over 100 different nationalities due to the numerous international schools here. This creates a hugely diverse and culturally unique environment. I'm starting to learn that the Swiss are a nation of quiet innovators and entrepreneurs. Individuals don't stand out far in this nation that's controlled by the people, but as a collective with a base in strong Protestant work ethics, great things can happen. They are logical and organised, so the international style of grid-based design fits this persona. Even the Victorian hotels are subtle in their embellishment, and their muted colours in keeping with the landscape. I feel that living here I have plenty of creative inspiration in my views, the amazing weather and the clean air, but I will need to use the internet to stay connected to the art community to a great extent, and also to stay in touch with the world outside.